Can anyone beat out Georgia for the SEC championship game this year? Sean and I share our betting futures picks for the SEC coming up on today's show.
And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
If you say it
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by the teammates every week. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. Joe DeLeone and Sean Anderson, 2 former college football players from the University of Rhode Island. And today we're going to be sharing our SEC championship futures picks, as well as some thoughts on some other miscellaneous topics. Sean, can you share with our listeners a quick word from Bet Online?
Yeah, I'd love to thank the hockey gods for giving us some good sports here in June. Basketball, you let us down big time, but we got Game 7 between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers tomorrow night, Monday night, 8 p.m. A Game 7, scrapping and clawing back into it. It has been a fun hockey watch. Joe, I know you are it's kind of a hidden hockey dork where you track and you played for a little bit, and people might not know that. I don't know why you're trying to take the nice hot take, by the way, by saying, "Oh, I might be in on the Oilers now." Way to set the world on fire.
Shut up! Like everybody, I wasn't in on the Oilers before Game 1 for a very obvious reason.
If you want to put some action on this game, like everybody will be doing, because it's the best sporting event we're going to get for a little bit. Bet Online, that's your number one source. That's where you should be doing it. Every stat, every matchup, even live odds if you're tracking golf, if you're tracking baseball. Happy for the Nats. They had some big wins this weekend. Head to the website today. Get in on the action. Use promo code BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, the game starts here.
Sean, I just would like to admit I spent an hour and a half yesterday trying to build a betting model in Google Sheets, only to go 1 for 4 on picks on Bet Online, which probably is the most insanely stupid irony that I probably could have accomplished. Just wanted to let you know that math doesn't mean anything. Anyone who says that they've got a betting model that is 70% accurate or whatever, they're lying to you. And it's not like I just made this haphazardly on my own. I was following a number of tutorials when I put this together.
So you thought this weekend you were going to crack the system wide open?
No,
that's what you decided.
No.
I'm getting deep into the game, and I think it would be professional to have the DeLeone model ready to go. Cracking it at 25%, not bad right now, but this is your hubris saying you can beat the books.
Actually, the last part that you said where I thought I needed to have the DeLeone model ready to go, that part's accurate because I thought, hey, this would be good to have because I can give picks outside of college football if I can learn how to do this. Obviously, there is some trial and error that needs to go into it, but the 1 for 4 is embarrassingly low.
Do you know what the Anderson model is?
Miss
winning bets.
Go over 5.
Winning bets.
You don't
That's
go
the Anderson
you
model. Wake up and win a bet.
You don't win bets because I beat you in college football picks, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Go ahead. Snipe the first 3 lines that you like every time. Didn't have a first shot at the first 3 anyway.
That we would alternate. That doesn't
keep on sniping.
Okay. You were allowed to share the same bets as me.
Hold on. What was in your model here? What did you have an equation? What were your values in this model? The over, and then the how would it calculate to possibly be a green for Joe DeLeone to push the bet button?
It was generating money line play, run line play, and then the total play. But like the money line, run line stuff wasn't that as useful. I wasn't doing that. I was doing it for the over under, and I was using a accumulation of. I was pulling data from. Wait, let me unhide these cells.
Pulling data.
Information from Team Reference and a couple other websites, and it was basically generating the averages of away runs per game in the last 3 games, the away ERA, the bullpen ERA, all of these things put together to generate averages to determine what each team was could put out in terms of how many runs they scored that game.
Pro Baseball Reference kind of just does this for you. They have a nice little spreadsheet that just shows how the season's going for everybody. If I wanted to do no home runs in the first inning or no home runs in this game at all, you can look and see the percentages of teams that are hitting home runs.
No,
they did in the last 5. You don't need a model.
No. That is
model territory, bucko.
That's like pulling up a box score and being like, oh, the Angels scored 9 runs last game. I'm taking the over.
Would never happen. God.
Well, that would never happen. And I bet that's how you bet.
No juice also, by the way. It has been a disappointment watching him clobber the Angels. And I'm not an Angels fan, but what the hell? I mean, it's just boring Shohei dominance now. Not Shohei on the scrappy Angels. Can they finally do it? What a stinker of a season that is.
That was one of the bets that didn't hit yesterday. I took the under in that game. All right, let's talk about the SEC. Sean, so we normally do this. We try to give a value play. We try to give you a team that we think would make you the most money if it hit. Now, the SEC is a very unique circumstance because kind of feels like we know who's going to win the conference. Georgia is a behemoth, and we came into last season saying that they were going to win the conference, and they still fell short. Now, I am not predicting that they fall short, but I would like to take a second here, Sean, just to talk about Georgia and why I think that they're going to win regardless of what we give here for these 2 betting picks that we're going to provide. They are bringing back one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Their defensive line is deep. Their linebacking core is deep, and their secondary front to back has some premier talent, especially Malachi Starks, who we talked about on last show. I just don't see a world that any of these other teams that have built up to compete with them might be able to keep it close, might be able to play a really good game in the SEC championship game. But I think that the fact that they bring back Carson Beck with some really talented weapons is going to set them up to win the conference. That's probably the least hot take that we're ever going to have on this show.
It is, but the SEC this year is built for a double bet if you want to have fun watching football this college season. That means take the future on Georgia. You're going to have fun. You can watch them win. It's plus 190. It's just enough value. Don't get too eager here.
On Bet Online, plus 190 on Bet Online.
You can just watch week to week. Just, Georgia's playing this week. I'll check in. Oh, they're up 40. Cool. I'm tracking. It's not going to be a sweat show every single week. There might be some tight games, but if you want to have fun, you want to make some money, that's the smartest bet. Now, the fun really happens with the secondary backup play. Who would you root for here? Who do you want to see? Who do you want to see maybe take a real run at it? Maybe it's Ole Miss, maybe it's Tennessee, Missouri would be fun to root for. I think going in those options, you still get good value, and you can have like an AFC and an NFC team to root for, even though they're in the same conference, if that makes any sense, Joe.
Yeah, the one interesting thing, and I think we brought this up when we did the Big Ten betting preview, they actually have better odds to win their conference than Georgia does to win theirs. And I would argue, I feel as though Georgia is more of a lock than Ohio State is. Ohio State is a very likely chance that they win the Big Ten, as we said, but there's still opportunities for a team like Oregon to maybe upset them and to still win the conference. Doesn't mean that Ohio State couldn't go on and win a national title or whatever, but that plus 190 is actually decent value if you wanted to be that dork who puts down the lamest, easiest bet before the season. It's like going into a Saturday, like, I think I'm going to bet on Georgia. They're playing Middle Tennessee. I don't know. I just think I just need one to go through the hoop. It's like, okay, I get it.
It's not a bad idea. Joe, it's the college football season. There's going to be, I don't know, hundreds of crazy bets between the two of us this year.
Right.
And then at the end, when January is rolling around, you're kind of going to be like, oh, where'd this money come from? Oh, that's right. Georgia won the conference. I'm happy it's planted into my account. Here's what with the SEC this year, I'm not touching the newcomers. I'm not touching Texas. I'm not touching Oklahoma. They're new to this conference, but they're not that new. And these coaches have been scouting them years prior to them even joining. It's not going to be, oh, we haven't seen Texas or Oklahoma before. It's, hey, welcome. You're going to get punched in the mouth every single week just because that's your initiation. I think that they aren't going to get shell-shocked, but neither of them have the confidence for me to put my money down.
That's a very good point for any Texas fans. We're not voting against you. We're not rooting against you. But the reality here is there is so much uncertainty. So when we're trying to make a bet, we're looking for certainty. We're looking for something that actually we can put confidence in. And that is just not on the table for Texas because they looked really good against Alabama. They looked really good in the playoff, but anything can happen in their first year in a conference that is going to be a lot harder than the Big 12. My first betting pick that's not Georgia, I really like Alabama at plus 650. I know that a lot of folks have been criticizing Alabama's expectations for 2024. You're making a face as I am saying this because of the fact that Nick Saban is gone and Kalen DeBoer is taking over this team. Kalen DeBoer has more talent to work with than he did at Washington. I know that sounds crazy to say because he put out all of those first-round picks and early draft picks, but he's got a lot of really explosive weapons. I really think that Jalen Milroe, who was my Heisman betting pick, is going to take a huge step forward with the right coaching, the right offense that is going to fit his skill set. They could be a team, if everything goes according to plan, really rolls this year and gets to the SEC championship game with no divisions as maybe a one-loss team and then finds a way to yet again surprise Georgia. So I can never discount Alabama in a conversation like this.
I will discount them this year, and
Trash.
It's a dumb decision because it's the Alabama Crimson Tide, and the culture supersedes the coach. But the coach helped build it, and now you have a new coach, and you have a new attitude, and Roll Tide Willies at practice. Which, all right, now we're definitely changing some stuff. I don't think Alabama wins it this year. I think they're good. I think they're very good, and I think Kalen DeBoer is like, wow, a real deal coach. Everyone looks at him. You went across the country. You still had some really good wins. Get some respect this year, but that would not be my play here. I've got two teams. I got one that I like and one I want to discuss with you. Ole Miss is at plus 700. I might take that bait if it's my backup SEC play. And I know I was trashing you earlier in the year about your Ole Miss and the Jackson Dart, super high and all that, but if there's a year where it's still kind of chaotic and you're just looking down the barrel at Kirby and Georgia, maybe you can get some good luck and get some good bounces, and it happens. And I wouldn't mind that either. I like Lane. I think Lane Kiffin's a good coach, but you're climbing a huge mountain here. You see the Georgia mountain that you just have to get over, and Ole Miss always scares me about that, but I like them more than Alabama this year because their coach has been there longer. That's where my mind would go. I like a coach that's been with a team in the big time decisions at the end of games because that's where bets are won. That's where they're won. And I think Lane Kiffin likes to cover as well.
Now that it's also worth noting, they have in the country the 40th. Let me try that again. They have the 40th easiest strength of schedule in the country, which is very important to note. That is very low for an SEC program. That is per College Football Network, where I'm pulling that information from, because I know that some strength of schedule calculations can be different for different websites. But that's important to bring up. I don't mind that pick. I like that pick. I think that they would be secondary to Alabama just because of the ease of schedule that they're facing. I just get a little wary because it seems like Lane Kiffin struggles a ton whenever he has to face Kirby Smart. So they could roll their way. They could even be undefeated going into the SEC championship game somehow and still get their asses kicked.
Yeah, but it would be championship game. It would be so Lane Kiffin to beat Alabama the year after Nick Saban's out of there. Like that would just be
right.
It would define the arc. It would put a full pin in the arc. And I want to ask you about Tennessee though. They got James Pierce Jr., fantastic defense. They're going to be rolling with Nico this season at quarterback. Some decent momentum for Tennessee, and they're
52 strength of schedule, by the way.
They're really plus 1,100. I mean, really, if it's Tennessee, I'd like to see them over plus 1,500 because the SEC is hard, and they are a bubble team between the good and the bad tier. I don't hate it though. I don't hate the chance if it is a crazy roller coaster season of Tennessee with the young 5-star quarterback making it really, really happen this season.
Now, my coked out play, which is the one that is probably not going to happen, but if you want to sprinkle a couple of dollars on the board just to say, hey, this is fun, which doesn't really happen in the SEC. It's not like the Big 12 where you could pull a crazy one and maybe it comes to fruition. this doesn't happen in the SEC, but Auburn plus 5,000.
No.
They have, hold on, Sean. They have the 38th strongest schedule, which is very low down for an SEC program. I think that's a strong mix of not having a difficult SEC stretch and just general stretch. Their non-con isn't going to be anything super crazy, unlike some of these other teams who scheduled some very difficult non-conference opponents. They do play Georgia, and I think that could be to their advantage of playing Georgia in the regular season. And as we always say on the show, it is the biggest cliche in sports. You play a team once, it's hard to beat them again a second time. So maybe that could work in their favor if everything lines up. I just think that last year, everyone expected Auburn to stink. And I know that Auburn wasn't exactly consistent because they lost to New Mexico State. But at the same time, Sean, they still found ways to be bowl eligible. So if they come into this year, despite not having the talent to be one of the best teams in the conference, I believe that Hugh Freeze could randomly cook something up and they could go on some maybe TCU type run. Again, coked out pick. This isn't going to happen. But if I were to put a crazy one on the board, I'm going to put it on the board. Find me a better one. Find me a better one, Sean.
I'm tracking, but week 5, they get Oklahoma, and then they go to Georgia after that. Missouri, they go to Missouri after that. They get a break against Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Louisiana.
These aren't crazy hard games. They don't play Texas.
They close with Texas A&M and Alabama. That is not a great schedule for Auburn.
They almost beat Alabama with Saban, and if it wasn't for a last-second play, they were going to beat them.
Gosh, they get New Mexico in week 3. Do you think that state can go 2-0 against them? That'd be awesome.
They don't have is it New Mexico or New Mexico State?
New Mexico.
You're saying the state. You're saying
this season they have,
good.
yeah.
Okay, but they don't have any difficult non-con. I think that is going to be to their advantage.
Auburn is that is exactly how you describe this pick. This is if it all falls apart and Hugh Freeze is the cream that rises to the top. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not touching that one.
All right, what's your pick?
Oh, if I was in that same vein, it's nasty to say it, but what about Texas A&M? It's nasty.
Ew.
I know you're making me do this, but Missouri's they're plus 1,200. I got to jump up there, and I'm not going to pick Oklahoma.
Is Texas A&M really like crazy odds enough to? I guess it is.
They're plus 1,600. Why?
I don't know. It's not as bad shit. I don't know how Oklahoma has better odds than Auburn, by the way. That doesn't make any sense, but sorry, continue.
Yeah. Maybe this whole Jimbo Fisher situation was an even bigger disaster than we could have expected. That's why, if you want to take this pick, that's why you should rationalize it. And Texas A&M had all the talent. They had all the resources, and Jimbo just was not clicking. And now there's a new regime, and you want to take a bet on the new regime doing a vast, quick turnover and reset to get the guy with the golden parachute out of there and maybe start winning some football games. So I would take this on the basis of we don't know all that happened with Texas A&M. Let's take a bet on them really turning it around and doing a full 180. This is my backflip, a complete turnaround bet. That's what I would bill this as. Not coked out, but new regime. Let's take a shot.
Yeah, I don't know a first-year coach. I think that's a little unlikely. By the way, if any of your buddies try to push you on Mississippi State plus 25,000, tell them to call the number. It's time to call the number. All right, let's move on to another topic.
We've got a couple. To me, Mississippi State plus 25,000. You see Vanderbilt, same exact odds right next to you. How does that feel for to be a Bulldog looking at that?
They both stink, so I don't know what the expectation is there. All right, let's move on. So I found this I saw this on Twitter, and then I also saw it again in a couple other places. And I wanted to bring it up because I thought it was very fitting for our show. So there was this basketball tournament that was supposed to happen in Newark, and this is what I'm reading here. It was canceled after a promotional video was posted. The Nuttin but as basketball tournament has been canceled after a promotional video. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen this?
All right, keep going.
This article's from Complex. No school district official was aware of the video until it was posted on social media. Newark Public School spokeswoman Nancy Deering said it in a statement. The purpose was to be a community basketball event sponsored by Councilman Kelly. No school or district official approved of the activity depicted in the video or knew that the event at one of our schools was going to be included in such activity. So this was supposed to be at a high school in New Jersey. The video in question shows several scantily clad women dancing inside the gym of Westside High School in Newark. So this was shot in the school where the event was scheduled to take place on July 21st. We could have gone to this, Sean. I'm really disappointed. There's at least one woman holding a basketball and lending credence to the claim that the event will actually feature some sort of activity involving a basketball. Basically, this event, though, was a celebrity basketball tournament. Don't know what celebrities were participating. And the rest of the participants were strippers. So I'm just dumbfounded by the fact that this managed to go through, and then it's also disappointing it got canceled. But this took Twitter, a lot of attention on Twitter for the absurdity of this. I'm a little sad that this thing got canceled because I think it would have been hilarious to find out what the outcome would have been.
Look, you can't have nothing but ass rolling around. You just can't have that happening at a school. I think nothing but ass should be taking place at a park. You know, you get a permit, say, hey, we're doing a tournament. This is what we got. This is what we're doing. A public school?
Yeah, but like out in the open. Oh man, I don't know if there's a good spot for this. I think you could have done it in the Prudential Center, and I think you could have drove a pretty good crowd.
I'm trying to think. There's a community center down the road from me, maybe about a 2-minute walk, and there's a big, there's a track in it. There's a basketball area. There's a pickleball courts. There's an open field. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to think. Could nothing but as play there? Just hypothetically, could they pull it off? I think it's a maybe. I think you have to have a cool community center or have somebody that's working in the community center that can tell you, hey, these hours we'll be able to do this. You can't just, in today's world, I don't think you could just pull up with everybody and start shaking ass and people are going to be okay with it on school ground. I just don't think so. I think you have to have an in at the community center.
What if we set up a court in the parking lot of a strip club? So apparently the organizer
that's not a bad idea.
Was music manager Big Fendi. I didn't do a lot of research on this, as I probably should have. There was according to the outlet, seats were going to sell for $50 to $500 with a $10,000 prize at the end. They could have afforded to go into a bigger arena. I think here's what we should do. I think that we should pull some strings and have this go on in Milburn High School. I think that if I make the right phone calls, Milburn High School is the high school that I went to. I think that we could pull the right strings and end up getting this on in there.
I'm definitely not opposed to it. I like that the spirit of getting something done, getting something going. Let's have some fun. Let's have a party. We'll make it basketball centric, and we'll get some ass shaking. These are all things that would be in my green checklist column. But some of the other details to get it all cleared and passed need to be go through the proper channels, I think. And if you want to break them into Milburn High School, that's fine. Can I be the DJ?
I wonder if we should just not tell them. Kind of try to pull the same thing. Like, don't tell them what it is. Like, yeah, it's a basketball tournament. It's a basketball tournament. You just don't worry. Yeah, who's participating? Don't worry about it. Just no kids. There can't be any kids because then we're gonna get into some trouble. They're like, what do you mean by that? I think we could pull this off.
You know what? All right, I'll let you start sending some emails, and then when we need security or we need some AV, then I'll step in and handle that part.
AV, God, the last thing you need to be doing is operating AV in this. All right, this is such a stupid topic, but it had to be brought up. The Texas Shaboing Boing. What are your thoughts on this? You wanted to talk about this?
Okay, I do have to talk about this. There was a Texas Rangers game this weekend, and a very interesting clip is how I would describe it that came out of it. The Texas Rangers this year have debuted, I believe it's called the Moonstick, or it's some big variation of a huge hot dog. It's an 18-inch hot dog. It comes in a big-ass box. It's got chili, jalapenos, everything on it. It's a fully loaded 18-inch hot dog that they're selling in the stands as a gimmick. And that, okay, people want it. People want to go out and eat the big hot dog. this goes back to my point about these MLB teams, because what happened at the game, Joe, there's a video of a guy happy with his hot dog, and then it's so big and so heavy, this 18-inch glick falls out and cracks through the cardboard and hits just a guy watching the game, coats his whole shirt with hot dog juice and chili and mustard. And you know why? You know why it happened? Because it wasn't a regular hot dog. Because they're making 2-foot-long hot dogs at MLB stadiums, killing the vibes. Do you know how incensed I would be if I was sitting here sweating out a bet in the stadium, just trying to watch my team, be a good fan, and someone drops that monstrosity on my neck and back? That is a problem. That is a fight in the stadium. It is still too far with these MLB foods, and I am opposing them until they just fix it and go back to the regular stuff.
Yeah, you throwing hands if you get hit with a giant glizzy?
Yes, I am throwing hands. I will have my first stadium fight if somebody drops that monstrosity on me. And this is different than what like Seattle does the awesome floating hot dog bit. Philly this year I've really loved because they're just throwing these $1 hot dogs at each other, like a bunch of savages in the stadium. That's fun. You're going to $1 hot dog night, you better be ready to get hit in the back of the head by some Philly goofball with a glick. But that's a regular hot dog. It's not a monster truck falling out of the box and crushing your car, which is what I would equate that to, seeing 2 feet of tube meat coming down the barrel and destroying your whole vibe. Can't stand these things.
You know what? You know what my only thought on this? I think we need to go to a Rangers game. I think we need to try. Do you think you could finish? I don't think any normal person, you and I are not normal people. A normal human being, even in Texas, is not finishing that thing. There's no way. There's absolutely no way that any normal sports fan, especially because most of the Rangers fans are not originally from Texas. Most of them are just goofballs who moved there to work for AT&T or something. I find it hard to believe that somebody from Indiana who moved there is going to be able to consume and finish this thing.
Okay, so it's called the boomstick. I just sent it to you also, Joe. I'm getting angry at the video all over again. It's just a monstrosity the way it rolls out of the box. This is terrible. I'll go to a Rangers game. I'll go. The last hockey game I went to, I was getting snapped at by some angry lady.
No, Texas Rangers.
Oh God, Texas Rangers.
Why are we? Okay,
I don't know. We were going to be.
That was one of the worst gaffes that you've possibly had. Are you tracking the conversation? We're talking about the hot dog. We're talking about going to the game to eat the hot dog. Let's go to a hockey game that doesn't have the hot dog. Yeah, that's the dumbest thing that I could have said.
I'm looking at this thing fall on this. Look at this monster of a dog. And look at the shirt, Joe. Look at the shirt. You have to fight. You have to fight somebody that is trying to make a bid out of this hot dog. I hate it. And the hot dog is still a protected food in my baseball wildlife chart. I'm still protecting it. That and the popcorn and the Cracker Jacks and the beer. But we need to stop pushing the science beyond its limits. Just do a regular glick. Please. Please. You shouldn't see a hot dog bigger in the wild than a Costco dog. That is as big of a hot dog that we need on the planet. No bigger.
At Joe DeLeone, at Sanderson Radio. Folks, thanks for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. Drop a like. Let us know what you think in the comments. Should we go and eat one of these enormous hot dogs? Maybe we will. We'll talk to you folks later. Enjoy the rest of your week.